a fun bookish video because I feel like it's going to be your bookish guide, especially if you are like new to reading. I have been wanting to do a video like this for a while because I feel like when I first got back into reading, I had to really like dig in the depths of my brain to like figure out how to navigate a bookstore, to figure out like what authors to buy or like what books to get, and like obviously getting into YouTube, BookTube, all the things. There's so much bookish lingo and just like so much stuff to like really dive into. So obviously we're gonna go into a bookstore today, but I'm gonna be showing you guys how I find good books in the bookstore, and hopefully this will help you as well. I also am gonna do a little Q&A, and I asked some questions over on YouTube just to see like what questions you guys had about literally anything bookish, and I'm gonna answer some of those. Also, we're going to talk about some bookish lingo because there is so much bookish lingo that I feel like is constantly coming out that I just like genuinely cannot keep up with, and I feel like you guys might feel the same way. I'm going to give you guys tips on book slumps, like all of the things. So first I want to answer a couple questions for like from the Q&A, and then we're gonna go into Barnes and see what we can get in there. We're actually at my favorite Barnes & Noble. It's in Champaign, and I actually haven't been back here in a while, so I'm excited to see like what books that they have in there. But let's get into some of the questions first. You guys asked really good questions. I'm going to be answering half of these questions here and then half the questions on the podcast. I have a podcast called Love You Most Pod, so you guys can go there and like listen, because I always like have a little bookish chat usually at the end of every episode. You guys asked, love your content. I'm looking to begin a book club and also get into producing more content for Book Talk and Bookstagram. Any advice on how to get it going? I'm so lost and stuck. I feel like a lot of people, when they ask any advice to get it going, like they're usually asking like how to grow. And I feel like when you're creating anything, really you should just be focusing on your enjoyment behind it. And I feel like the more you focus on that, the more you can hone in on what you love. You can share authentically, and I feel like people will come. I will say that the biggest tip I can give for like when you're sharing online is to be consistent. I have been creating like videos and stuff on Instagram, TikTok, BookTube, all the things, and I've been like hanging out on the internet since like 2018-ish, and I feel like that's the thing that has really helped me build community the most. Another question you guys asked was, would you ever do a vlog focused on celebrity memoirs? I don't think so. I'm not like super big into like celebrity anything. Like people, if they ask me like, do you know like so-and-so, like what's going on? Literally no. Like I do not. My face is in a book. I'm not like watching TV for real, so like I'm so behind on like who's who and like what's what. You also asked, have you ever read books by L. Hopkins? The answer is no. I don't even know who that is. You also asked, would you continue reading books by problematic authors? I feel like this is a really hard question because the word problematic is subjective. Like problematic to you might not be problematic to me, but problematic to me might not be problematic to you. So if I feel like something is problematic to me or just like isn't appropriate for an author to like talk about or share or whatever, I definitely can see myself not wanting to read their book. If I've already if I've already purchased the book, I feel like I'll probably read the book because like money has already been spent. So like it's, you know, the author already has my money. But I do think that there are so many authors out there that just live lifestyles and say things that I don't agree with, and I feel like a lot of the time I just kind of miss things like that because, again, I'm not really like in the know of like celebrity gossip and like who's saying what, and like I'm not really like scrolling the internet like religiously because I like share so much on here. Like I just want to have my face in a book, so I do feel like I miss some things like that. So it is nice when you guys bring it to my attention so I can like look into it for myself. But yes, definitely. And then one of you guys asked, would you raise another animal companion? If you guys don't know and you're new to this video, I just lost my dog who literally feels like my baby. We had him for 10 years. He was the cutest Rottweiler ever, and actually it's kind of like emotional coming here today because it's the first time I've been back to this Barnes & Noble since he passed, and this is the area, like the town where he would get his chemo treatments. He passed away from lymphoma, which is like a type of cancer. But I don't know if I could. I genuinely don't know because like he was such a special part of our lives that it just feels weird to try to like fill that with another companion that would be, I think, comparing to Bane. So I don't know. I will never say never, but definitely no time soon. You also asked, how do you find genuine friends that like to read books like you, especially if you live in a very small town? I need book friends. This is such a great question. I'm so glad you asked it. The first thing, go to your local libraries. I feel like people do not go to the library enough, and there are so many bookish people going to library events. They're going to library, like, you know, hangout study areas to read. Like, go to your local library. Also, go to bookstores, and go to bookstores alone. I have talked to so many people who've just come up to me, like they'll see me like scouring the shelves and they'll be like, oh, like, what are you reading? Like, what are you looking at? Like, people want to like connect, and I feel like in bookstores, it's a very, very easy way to like make friends. I've had literally like 3 encounters at 3 separate bookstores where people have like wanted to exchange numbers with me, and like Snapchat, Instagram, and all the things, literally just from like being in the bookstore with them. I feel like it's such a great place to make friends. Also, I feel like everyone is a book person. I just genuinely feel that way. And I think that reading books that I love and recommending to friends is one thing, but reading books that I love, that I know my other friends will love, is an even better way to recommend books. So if you have friends who don't read, think about what they like. Like, do they like true crime? Do they like, you know, watching reality TV? Like, what do they enjoy? And then recommend a book to them that is based on what they like. I think so often as readers, we can be like, oh my God, this book was so good. Like, everyone's gonna love it. And like, that's not the case, because everyone has a different life experience. So like for me, with Binding 13, like I remember recommending that to Taylor and being like, you're gonna love this, because like her and her husband, they got together in high school, and like obviously Johnny and Shannon are in high school, and like there were a lot of similarities there with the characters and like her life, and so she's obsessed with it. Like, it's a 5-star series for her. I feel like I always recommend Only for the Week by Natasha Bishop to people who love like authors that really get into the story really fast and who are Black and maybe want to see themselves in the writing, because I feel like that's hard to see in books maybe where you are not like, you know, the focus. And if you like talk a certain way, or you have like a certain culture as like a Black woman, you just want to like be seen in the literature. So I feel like I always try to do that. Or if someone like really loves reality TV, recommend Magnolia Parks. It's such a great book that feels like you're like watching a reality TV show. Or if they love true crime, recommend a really good thriller like by Frida McFadden, like Never Lie or something. Like, I feel like so many people are readers, they just don't know it yet. And if you can recommend a book that'll really get them hooked, I feel like that really pulls them in. So I definitely would say go to bookish spaces, go to book events where there's author, you know, signings, go to all the things. And I feel like those are such great ways to make friends. That's how I've made a lot of my friends. Also on the internet, like if you are following a booktuber and you constantly see like people commenting, comment below someone's like little comment. And I feel like I've seen so many of you guys become friends with each other because like we're all just here to hang out. We all probably have a similar vibe if we're here. So those are probably like the best tips I can give for that. You guys also asked if you came with a disclaimer, what would it be? That is such a good question. I don't know. Comment below what you guys would consider my disclaimer. Like if I came with a disclaimer, like by watching my videos, like what is something that you would want to tell like besties, like if they were about to meet me, like, oh, disclaimer, Shaughnessy, da 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 da, like whatever, good or bad, like drop it below. I would love to like see what you guys have to say. And I'm only gonna answer like a few more and then we're gonna go inside. You guys asked, do you think I will ever write? I used to want to be a writer. Like I used to, like that was like my dream career. And then I got older and I think that the world told me that it wasn't possible. Just cause you know, when you're a kid, you have such big dreams. And then as you get older, people are like, oh, that's not realistic. Like you should do something else. But now I'm realizing that like anything is possible. So I'll never say never, but I do think that to get back to that childlike creativity and imagination space is really hard. And as a writer, you have to think outside the box and you're not gonna like take stories from other people. So you have to think of something that's like different and unique. And I actually wrote this story when I was younger. It was about like a dog and a cat going on an adventure. It kind of gave like Homeward Bound vibes if you guys watch that movie. And it was so good, but it was on like my computer that was like a big, you know, those big desktops that like everybody had. They're like huge. The back of the computer was massive. Like it was on that, and I don't think that we ended up like saving it anywhere. But I used to want to be a writer so bad, and I literally would write books and be like, yeah, I'm gonna publish these, and never did. So hopefully one day I do. I feel like I have lots of dreams of things that I just kind of want to dabble in just like for fun. One of you guys asked if you could be transported into any book world, what book would you choose? Magnolia Parks, 10 toes down, like 100% Magnolia Parks. Like I would love to hang out with the box set. Like imagine going out with them, like not even, cause I'm not even really trying to go out for real, but like the dinners that they go to, the galas that they go to, like I would love that. I would eat it up. So I feel like that would be like perfect for me. You guys also asked, what's your dream job? Are you social media? Is social media a full-time job for you? Yes, the answer is yes, social media is a full-time job for me, and it is my dream job, which I feel so grateful to be able to say that it is. I didn't plan on becoming an influencer, it just like kind of happened. Because I love sharing here and I just don't shut up about books. So I feel very grateful, and this is my dream job. I don't want to do anything else. I literally want to do this for the rest of my life. One of you guys asked, would you ever do a story time of how you and Brady met? I'm dying to hear your story. I would love to do a story time. Our story of how we met is very long, so I feel like it would be fun to share. I just don't really know what avenue to share it on, like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, like a series, like I don't know. So let me know what you guys think below, like how I should share that. Okay, one of you guys asked so many questions, so I'm going to try to like rapid fire answer them. What are your hobbies outside of reading? I love to color. I love being in nature, like walking around. I love computer games like Roller Coaster Tycoon, throwback games like Nancy Drew, stuff like that. And then I also love puzzles. Yeah, I'd say that those are probably like my biggest hobbies, I think, if I like had to pick just like a few. What's your favorite book from your childhood? Ooh, favorite book. I love Sarah Dessen's book, like Just Listen. I loved I'm the Messenger by Mark Cusack, I think. I also loved Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. I loved, let's see, I think those are like some of my favorites. I love The Babysitter's Club. I read all of those, and I also loved like Ask Alice by Phyllis Reynolds Naylor, like that whole series. I think that those are like all of my real like tried and true favorites, but that was when I was very much younger. If you could be any book character, who would you be and why? I don't know if I would want to be a book character because I love my life. Like I genuinely love like my life, but I definitely would want to be into a world, and that would be Magnolia Parks. What are your top favorite things about being a booktuber? Number one, you guys, the community, that is what makes it. Like, I don't think I could create and not have you guys being able to like input and share your thoughts and feelings and like all the things. Like the community is what makes it for me. If I didn't have that, I don't think I would enjoy this as a career at all. Two, I would say like recommending things and getting you guys like re-inspired to read a book or go outside in nature, try a new like place to visit. It really excites me when I'm able to inspire some type of like change or thought or whatever into your life. And then I'd say the third thing is just like creating something and seeing it come together. I'm not big on editing, like I don't really care for it, but I do love like starting something and then finishing it and you guys seeing like the full like concept of like how something comes together, because I have all these creative ideas and I'm always like, how am I gonna like execute that? And then I do, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Would you ever do an online book club for those of us who simply adore your vibe? Maybe. That's a lot of work, so I'm not sure. Would you ever consider writing a novel? Yes. You're one of my top 5 favorite booktubers. Your channel is this beautiful slice of life. It's beautiful to see someone who looks like me enjoy reading. Yes, keep inspiring Black women and Black girls to read. You're my book best friend in my head. Really, you're amazing. Keep shining. Thank you. That's such a sweet message, guys. All these are so nice. I feel so grateful for you guys. Like every single time I read your messages, I'm like, I could literally cry. You guys also asked, has a book ever made me cry? And yes, the book that has made me absolutely sob is Into the Dark by Jessa Hastings. That book was a book that I was just like, whoa, I don't know how I'm going to recover from this one. It is heavy. It was also a book that I read during the throes of grief, like really new, fresh grief, which not that grief really ever goes away, but I definitely feel like reading it in that moment home and I felt very seen and less alone, but it made me absolutely sob. What genre other than romance do you enjoy? I'd probably say contemporary fiction is like my second favorite, or maybe young adult. What's one genre you really want to try but are hesitant? Historical fiction, but hopefully I will be getting into that soon. I have some books on my list. What genre will you never read? Probably horror. I don't think I will ever read horror. I'm not a horror girly. I get scared so easily. I can barely read thrillers. I love them, but I can barely read them. And then who were your celeb crushes when you were younger? Ooh, I love Chris Brown. Love Chris Brown. Also loved like any of the Twilight people, like all of them. I just was like, I had posters all over my room. It was like a whole era. You guys understand. And then I think that's all I'm going to answer for now, just because the rest of the questions I'll probably answer whenever I do the podcast. But those are some really good questions. Oh, okay, one of you guys, I'm gonna answer one more because you guys actually just asked this. You said, any advice for folks starting their social media journey other than just start? Now, the reason why influencers say just start is because people will say, how do I start? Something. And like, I think so often we like overthink things to absolute death and we don't actually make the move. So like, and that's with anything. People will be like, how do I start working out? How do I start cooking? How do I start, traveling? Like, how do I start whatever? And I think sometimes we overthink it where it becomes like so stressful to actually do the thing that we want to do. So I'm not going to say just start, because you already know from what I'm saying right now that that is important, but being consistent is extremely important. But also like when you do start, you will find out like what you like and what you don't like. And so just like try different things, throw things at the wall, make videos that maybe are cringy, make videos that bring you joy, make videos that you feel like maybe you won't enjoy making, like just create so much that you almost get sick of it. And then I feel like you'll figure out what you actually like and hone in on that. Like for me, if you look back on my channel, I started making wedding tips videos when I made this channel. That's like literally how I started. And then I was like, oh, like maybe I'll do vlogs, and then I'll do, whatever. And now we're talking about books, and like maybe I'll shift to something else in the future. I don't know. I'm loving this right now, and I have been for the last like year and a half. And so, you can't really like know what you'll love or not love in the future, but I feel like whenever you try a bunch of different things, you can really figure out what works for you and what you're enjoying. So I hope that gives some inspiration to just start, because that is important. That's why people say it, because people will be like, how do I start? And it's like, you literally just pick up a camera and press the play button, and that's all you got to do, and just keep doing that over and over, and you'll hone in and figure out what works for you. But consistency, I do think, is probably the most important thing. So let's go into Barnes. That was a fun little Q&A. Let's go into Barnes. I'm going to show you guys how I shop for books, how I find good books, and then we will like kind of get into the little tips and things later for like how to get out of a book slump and like all that stuff. So let's head into Barnes and see what we can find. The first thing I do when I come into any bookstore is have a plan. So I'm really gonna try to find books on my list, but I'm sure I'll find books that are not on my list. I want to get the new book by Annabelle Monaghan, but it doesn't actually come out till tomorrow. But sometimes they do put like the new books on the bookshelf like a day early, so I want to see if it's here. I don't know if it's gonna be here or not. Also, the new book by Carly Fortune, it's not this one, but she just had a new one come out. I have heard from so many people that it's so good, but I've read this book and I read her second book that came out last year, and I didn't really like either of them, so I'm nervous to pick it up. But I'm gonna look into the book and look at the words and like see how the words are. I'm like really weird about words. I am gonna like see how much dialogue is in there and that kind of thing. And I feel like if you are going into any bookstore, you have to have some kind of list, otherwise you're gonna go in just like completely confused. And it's not bad to go in like completely blind, because it is fun to like browse, but I feel like if you're not finding anything that you're loving, you can easily just like walk out and not get a good book. So I feel like if you go in with a list of like maybe 2 books that you want, I feel like that's a good start. So I have those 2 books like on my radar. I don't know if I'm gonna buy the book by Carly Fortune, but I definitely want to like look at the words, see the dialogue and that sort of thing. I do want to buy Annabelle Monaghan's new book that is coming out, and then also I think the book is called what is it called? One of Our Kind, I think, or maybe it's Elementary by Elise Bryant. Both of those books come out in June, but I don't know what day. I'm gonna see if they're here, because I love both of their books. Like, they're so good. Usually really fluffy and fun, but I think both of these books actually are different than that. So I'm gonna see if that book is here too. I feel like I have so many anticipated releases that are coming out in June, so I feel like I have a nice little list of things I can choose from. One thing I always do when coming into bookstores is look at the tables, because almost always the books on the tables are either the super popular books or like the newly released ones. Like, I read this one came out I think like a few months ago, super cute, again newly released, but like so many people have been loving this one. And then these books, like this one right here, came out like years ago, but it still is like really popular. And then where's it at? This one right here. And then this one again came out years ago, still really popular. And then this one came out I think like a year or so ago, because there's already a second book that's out, and again it's very popular. So I feel like if you're very confused about like what to get, it's always good to come to the tables. This is one of my absolute like all-time favorite books. It's so like fluffy and cute, but I think it came out like, I mean, forever ago. I think I read it like 2 years ago, but I read it every year. So this is like such a great place to come if you're like confused as to what to get. And then I feel like it can get very daunting when you go over to like the shelves. So I'm going to show you guys how I find good books on the shelves without it being too scary. I promise book shopping is not that scary. I'm going to show you guys how I find books on the shelves without it being like too daunting. The first thing I do is look at the front facing books, because those are usually the ones that are like really popular, because like, I don't know, if you know the cover of a book, I feel like they want to put it at the front so people that know what the cover looks like, they can just like grab it easily. So whenever I am in these sections, you can see that there are some books that are like not front facing, like this one, like you can just see kind of like every other. And then there's the ones that are front facing. Now this one, all over Book Talk. This is a new release. This one has been popular for years. It was a Reese Witherspoon book pick. So all the front facing books I feel like are the ones that I look at first anytime that I'm like a little bit nervous, because you're almost always going to find a good book. Like this book right here is by Abby Jimenez, who she is one of my auto-buy authors. I read this book, absolutely freaking loved it. 4.5 out of 5-star read. Again, this book that I am obsessed with. There's so many good front-facing books, so if you come in and you're like unsure, just look at the front-facing books first. Like, I've read so many of these. Like this one, Play to Win, was a super cute one. This one was all over Book Talk. Just look at the front-facing books first, and then get into like, you know, some of these or some of these. But I feel like if you are a little nervous, that's a great place to start. Please tell me I'm not the only one who loves books like this. I gotta find the book so you guys can like see what I'm talking about. But this book right here, I feel is the perfect cover, because it doesn't like really show much of what the book is about, and like that's what I want. Like, I don't want people to like know what the book is about that I'm reading. Like, I just want to be like just low key. Like, this perfect cover, I don't even know what this is about, and it's already making me want to buy it just because of the cover. Like, I don't need people on my cover, I don't need cartoons on my cover, I need more books like this. Like, I want to be mystery girl. Like, do not come up to me being like, oh, that book looks good, like it looks like it's about the like, no, I want you to not know what it's about. And I just feel like these are my favorite types of books, the covers that have really like nothing, there's really nothing to give from the cover. Also, the fact that both of these books are super spicy is so funny to me, because the covers do not look like it at all. I feel like people are straying more away from like the typical like dark, like broody, like we obviously know that this is a spicy book, you know, it's literally called Craving. It says Steele Brothers novel, like it's giving the vibes. But this book right here is just as spicy. Oh, not me dropping books. It's just as spicy, but it looks different on the cover, and I feel like that's what people want. Like, that's just like, that's what I want, you know? Like, I've given this tip so much, but I'm gonna give it again, because if you missed other videos, maybe you've missed this tip. But if you are in a book slump, the best way to get out of it, I think, is to read a graphic novel. Graphic novels are so fun. I read the entire Heartstopper series, love that series. I have this book that I want to read either this month or maybe next month. There's just so many like good books here that you can read that you'll literally just like dive into so fast. And I feel like, I don't know, graphic novels are so underrated. Like, they're just
really, really fun, really, really easy to read. I think sometimes people think that they're like for kids, which they are in the young adult section, but still they're like so fun. And I feel like if we can read young adult books like, you know, Powerless and Powerful and stuff like that, then we can definitely read graphic novels too. I read this one, and what else have I read here? I own this one right here. There's just so many good ones here, and I think I'm gonna pick up one for myself. I also read this one down here, and it was super, super cute. I read this one a few months ago, and again, like the pictures and stuff, really easy to read, and I feel like it'll get you re-inspired to like pick up a book that is just like a traditional book. But if you've been in a book slump, definitely pick up a graphic novel. They're really fun, and you'll finish it in probably like 30 minutes.
So many books. Like, this bag is so heavy. Like, can you see all those in there? I have a ton of books. I'm only going to show you guys one for now and then show you guys the rest when I get home, because I want to go outside and read. It is so nice, so I don't want to take any time in the car just like chatting too much when we could literally be outside reading. I feel like one of the best ways to get out of a book slump for me is to change your scenery when you're reading. So I feel like I read outside a lot. You guys obviously see that a lot on my channel, but also I switch up my spaces. Like, I don't go to the same parks. I go to different parks. I go to like docks by the water. I go read in bookstores sometimes. I'll go read in libraries sometimes. I'll go read in coffee shops. I will read in my bed. Like, I do not stay in the same space, and I feel like it helps me romanticize the moment, because we can see all these like little cutesy things in movies where like the main character is like walking down the street reading a book and be like, oh my god, like how quaint, like how sweet. And then we just freaking go and like, I don't know, couch sink, and we like do our activities on the couch. Like, you can do that, but also there are so many more magical spaces to like inhabit. Is that the word that I want to use? I don't know. But there's so many magical places that you could hang out and like do your hobbies. So I really, really encourage you guys, if you want to get out of a book slump, try switching up your space. Try reading graphic novels or just short books in general. I feel like those help so much. But I'm going to show you guys one of the books I think I'm most excited about out of this entire haul, because, and I actually found this out when I was in there. I didn't even know that this was possible. So the book that I wanted was a book that does not come out till tomorrow. Like, when you guys see this book, it'll be out now, but like it does not come out till tomorrow. But I've read 2 books by this author, rated one of them 4.5 out of 5 stars, and then I rated the other one, I think 3 stars, and, or maybe 3.5. Both books really loved, perfect for summer, but I just knew that they weren't coming out till tomorrow. And whenever I went up and asked like if they had the book, the person looked in the system and was like, oh, we have it, like, but it's not released till tomorrow. But she checked, and I guess like on the website, there's certain books, or maybe like in their back end, I don't know, there's certain books that have to be sold on that specific date. So I'm guessing like books like Funny Story, or like, you know, books that are like maybe super hyped up, but other books that maybe aren't as hyped up, maybe aren't going to get their own table, they can be released early. So she gave me this book, and I'm so excited that I got it, because it's one of my most anticipated releases, and it is Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. I rated Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan 4.5 out of 5 stars last summer. Loved it so much. It's the perfect summer read. I feel like if you like Emily Henry's writing, you'll really like her writing, because for one, it's super short, but also I feel like her books are like really heavy in the romance, but they're also heavy in like a subplot of something else. And in Same Time Next Summer, you really get to see her like just figure out what she really wants and follow what she wants versus like what she feels like the world wants her to do or be. And it just was such a good book. Then I read Nora Goes Off Script, which is actually the book that most people have read by her. I think it's the book that kind of like really made her pop off, and it's good, but I think that Same Time Next Summer is even better. I think Nora Goes Off Script, I rated like 3.5 or something. And that book is about a writer who, she wrote this story about her and I think her ex-husband. And then they actually decided to like turn it into a movie. So the production company is like, we're gonna actually film at your house because this is a story about you, and we're gonna have an actress play you, but we're also gonna have an actor play your ex-husband. She ends up falling for the actor that is playing her ex-husband. Like, it's really good. Again, I think it's a really good story. It wasn't bad by any means. It just wasn't Same Time Next Summer. This book, I've been so excited for it. I think that this is gonna be a 5-star read. Like, I genuinely think it is, because Same Time Next Summer was so close. It just didn't give me that feeling, but I just feel like this one's going to. It says, Allie Morris is a professional organizer whose own life is a mess. Her mom died 2 years ago, then her husband left, and she hasn't worn pants with a zipper in longer than she cares to remember. No one is more surprised than Allie when the first time she takes off her wedding ring and puts on pants with overalls count, right? She meets someone, or rather, her dog claims a man for her by peeing on him. The last thing newly single mom Allie needs is to make her life messier, but there's no harm in a little summer romance, is there? Says the benefits of a summer romance. It's always fun, always brief, and no one gets their heart broken. On the back, it says a bingeable 5-star read from Abby Jimenez. I love Abby Jimenez. It also says an unputdownable love story about the messiness of life and lust. Anything Annabelle writes, I'm reading it. That was from Carly Fortune, who wrote Every Summer After. There's also a quote from Sophie Cousins and Alyssa Sussman. I'm excited to read this. I think her books are normally put into the contemporary fiction section, but I feel like they should just be in romance because it's very heavy on the romance. So it doesn't really make sense why it's there to me, but really, really excited to read this one. And this one is another shorter book. It's about like 350 pages. I think this is actually one of her longer ones, but I'm so excited for this. Her books are they're fun. They're super fun, and they're short. And I guess this one's a little bit longer, but I will say that's another tip. I kind of mentioned it briefly, but like, if you are falling into a book slump, read short books. Read books that are like 200 pages. Read books that are 150 pages. Read books that are 60 pages. Read short freaking books. I feel like reading short books will reignite your excitement for reading. You'll finish something, which I feel like gives you a sense of accomplishment because you've started and you finished something, and it'll make you feel confident that like, okay, if I did this, then I can also like read another book and do it again. And like, I don't know, I just feel like short books in the summer also just hit, like they do something different. So I'm going to go read for a little bit, gonna get my picnic blanket, take it out, and then whenever we head back home, I will give you guys the rest of the haul. It is a massive haul, and I feel like you guys will like the books that I picked up because a lot of them are new releases and books that I feel like a lot of you guys haven't heard about yet. Sound of the birds out here is literally making me feel like I'm on another planet, and that is why you have to read outside, guys. Like, you have to read outside. And I know there's bugs, like I know there are, and I know there's creepy crawlies, and I know, but like, it is just a vibe. Like, turn on some music, listen to the birds if you don't want to listen to music, because honestly nature does have its own, like, you know, soundtrack, but it is so relaxing out here. I'm reading Addicted to You, and I'm actually reading this for another video that's coming soon, but I feel like most of you guys know that I'm already reading this because I feel like I shared it on Instagram. I'm not like obsessed with it, but I'm not obsessed with it. Like, I could see myself definitely getting more into it if I like read more of the series, because it's super easy to read. I feel like I'm flying through it really fast, but because I'm not obsessed with it, I'm not like naturally gravitating towards it, so I'm kind of wanting to start Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. Like, I just want to read that book so freaking bad. It just feels like it's perfect for summer, but I'm also going out of town this weekend to California, so part of me is like, maybe I should save it for that because it's going to give summer vibes, and I feel like books like that are always fun to read in warm weather, so maybe I'll do that instead. I've never really been big on following like artists or anything, but yo, Lizzie, I'm obsessed with her music. I bought it on album, I bought it on a CD. Like, I want to own it in every possible medium, and I started following her on Instagram, and she just like started playing on her freaking guitar and posted this video, and if she doesn't release this song, I'm literally gonna cry. Like, I love when artists will just like, you can tell they love their craft and they're just like messing around. Like, she just, let me play this song for you, okay? Pick up the kids from soccer practice. I wait in line at the grocery store. You sing them to sleep. What else do we need? You're always sober, I'm always sure.
we could have had it, but then again, we never could have done it. I was weaker then. I hate to say it, I know it's true. I'm waiting for someone who will make me say no to you.
Please tell me how someone just casually writes that on a Monday or whenever she wrote it and posted it on Monday. Like, you're just interrupting our regular day with this masterpiece. She also has a YouTube channel, and I watched one of her vlogs and instantly fell even more in love with her music because it just shows like how like real she is and how she's really writing from her heart. And I just love her music so much. I want to go to her concerts, like one of her concerts, so bad.
You cannot tell me that this background does not look like a green screen. Like, does it not? Like, I don't know if you guys can see it now. It's kind of like blown out. But I'm heading home, and I want to give you guys a little book haul of everything that I picked up because we are running on a time crunch. Whenever I get home, we're going to be leaving like straight to go to my nephew's baseball game. So I thought it would be fun to share what I got in the car. I'm gonna turn off the air so you guys can like hear me hopefully a little bit better. So I'm just gonna grab a book out of here and just tell you guys what it's about or like why I picked it. Ooh, the first book. Okay, so this one is Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. I got this because it's the third book in the Brown Sisters series, and I truly hope that this is a good one because the first one I wasn't really obsessed with, like it was okay, and then the second one I really loved. Like, it was so cute and it was just like really fun, very easy to read. This one is another rom-com. It says it's about the flightiest Brown sister. She crashes into the life of an uptight B&B owner and has him falling hard, literally. So her books are a little bit spicier than what I normally grab for, but I feel like they're really fun, rom-com-y. Like, literally in the first book, the guy has to like save a cat out of a tree. The second book in the series, it was really good because like the main character guy had to like save the girl out of an elevator. Like, there's lots of saving in these books, so I cannot wait to read that one. And then I ended up picking up another book. I got so many books, guys. I got Pardon My Frenchie by Farah Roshan, I think that's her name. So this book actually comes out tomorrow, but I picked it up today because it was available. And this one says, these enemies have a few new tricks to learn about falling in love. And I'm pretty sure she's like a dog walker or something like that, and he like hates dogs. It's literally giving rom-com. Like, I think it's like Grumpy Sunshine too, like if I remember correctly. I could be totally wrong, but it just looks cute. I love dogs, obviously, and she's like a dog lover, so I figured you couldn't go wrong there. And I feel like in the summer is when I am like fully in my rom-com, fluffy, cutesy, pink like book era. That's like when I want to read like the fluffy books the most, especially when I'm like on the beach or like in really warm climates. So I got that book, and then I got the 7-10 Split, and this is actually a sapphic romance. This one looks really cute. It's also super short. It's a Harlan Quinn novel, which usually those novels are pretty spicy too, but again, it looks really cute. Speaking of spice, I was on TikTok, and there was this video of this guy, and he's like, I was reading Pride and Prejudice, and I'm trying to like look for another book that's like, you know, gonna be a good one for me to start. So I came on TikTok, and all I see are like books with spice. And for one, I thought this was satire, because I'm like, this man is not about to come on our book talk, because you know, if you're reading Pride and Prejudice, that you probably are not on the like Colleen Hoover, the like icebreaker like algorithm, you know what I mean? Like, you're probably getting recs that are like classics and stuff, which is like fine. And he was like, all I'm getting are like books with tons of spice and like these cartoon charactery people. Like, I saw someone reading It Ends With Us on the train, and like at 10 a.m. like, I can't believe she's doing that. And all the comments are like, yes, please save literature, please save the classics. It's like, you can read them, no one's stopping you from reading the classics because everybody else wants to read something different. Like, I am a huge promoter of read what you want. Like, read what you want, whether it's spice, dark romance, whether someone's getting, like, literally read what you want. I do not care. As long as my books are available, like, that's all that matters. And you guys know, again, I'm not a huge, like, girl who's obsessed with spice, but I do recognize that, like, a lot of people love books with spice. And books with spice, sometimes, like, they just hit. Like, it just depends on my mood. And this one looks really good. It's by Carmen Lee. Again, it's a Harlequin novel, and I don't even know what this one is about. It says that they're expected to be partners in their new bowling team, and they have to try to get victory in 6 months, but there's like a rivalry, so it sounds like it's rivals to lovers. And this one is less than 300 pages, so I'm like, bet. I'm literally excited to read that. Hopefully I'll read that one really soon. And then I also picked up Until I'm Yours. Don't even know what this book is about. I literally got it because it is the third book in Kennedy Ryan's, I think it's like the Bennett Brothers series or something like that. And I got this because I own the other 2 books. Have not read either of them. Literally haven't touched them, but I will read every single book that Kennedy Ryan writes, and these are released with new covers. Now, obviously I drove like an hour and a half to get to this bookstore, but I did that for a reason, because my bookstore back home does not have this book. They don't have a lot of books that I feel like are, I wouldn't say like super popular, because like this is a series that isn't like widely popular, but like they just don't have a ton of books, especially by Black authors. So all those books that I've shown you guys so far are by Black authors, which I love because I have a hard time finding them at my barns back home, but coming to this barn, like, they always have tons of diverse reads. Then I picked up Summer Romance, which I told you guys about a little bit earlier. I'm excited to read this one. This one was one of my most anticipated reads of the summer, maybe even of the year, just because their books are really good. And then I also picked up Ignite Me, which this is the 3rd book in the Shatter Me series, and I picked it up because I read the first book, and it was pretty good. I wasn't like obsessed with it or anything, but I did really enjoy it, so I want to read the 2nd book and then eventually read the 3rd. I wanted to have the 3rd book on hand because if I finish the 2nd one and like really want to hop into the 3rd, then I can. I've also heard that the 3rd book is like when it really gets good, so I'm hoping that like I fall in love with the series even more as I like get into it. It wasn't bad. I think I rated the first book 3 stars, but I just wasn't like obsessed with it. Then I got the 7-Year Slip. So many of you guys have told me to get this book. So many of you. Honestly, the thing that made me get this book was one of you guys commented and said that this book deals with grief. And I feel like because I have, you know, been grieving my dog passing, also grieving my father passing 6 months ago, or I think 7 at this point, but I feel like grieving those things, like, books have really helped me. And I haven't really read any books that are like specifically like how to navigate grief, but reading books where characters are navigating grief really makes me feel a lot less alone. And I feel like the authors really perfectly capture the feelings that I'm feeling and can't really articulate verbally. So it just makes me feel like a lot less alone, if that's like makes sense. Then I also picked up The 12th Night, which this is Reese Witherspoon's book club pick, and their YA book club pick, and then this is also the book club pick for maybe Barnes & Noble, because it says YA book club, exclusive edition Barnes & Noble. I don't know. I am excited to read it because I think it's Reese Witherspoon's first YA book pick, and I feel like they always have good book picks. Like, I read 7 Days in June because it was their book pick years ago and fell in love with Tia Williams' writing then. So I'm excited to read this one. It's about a girl who, she's like a gamer, and she, I think, like, doesn't want to get made fun of or something at school, so she goes like into her gaming as a guy character because she like doesn't want people to know who she is. And whenever she like goes in as this guy character, there's this popular guy at her school. He ends up playing the game, and she like ends up talking to him on the game, but he thinks that she's like a guy because he's like, she's playing as a guy character. And I think they end up finding out they have like a lot of in common or something like that. So it looks cute. The cover is adorable. I found it in the YA section. Guys, I got so many books. Then I got Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy, and this is a graphic novel, but it is a retelling of Little Women. Y'all, I am putting this on my TBR this month. I feel like graphic novels, again, are the best books to get you out of a book slump if you're in one, which I've never been in one because of like the things that I shared that I do to keep me out of them. But whenever I am about to feel like I'm gonna be in one, this is gonna be the book that I read, because it's such a unique concept. It's a graphic novel about, like, it's set in like now time. Like, I don't know if you guys can see the cover. It's super cute, set in like today's age. Look at the girls, like the diversity, like it looks like a good read. So I am excited to read that one. And then I got another graphic novel, and this one is called Displacement, and this one is one that looks really good. It's about a girl who time travels. She's from San Francisco and time travels back to 1940s in the Japanese American interment camp where her late grandmother was forcibly relocated during World War II. So I feel like people think that you can only learn about like history and stuff when you're reading like nonfiction, but that is so not true. Like, you can even read graphic novels and learn from those, and I feel like that for me is a really digestible way to like learn more about history and get me excited about it. And so then if I want to read something that's like a memoir or whatever, I already kind of have like a little bit of a basis. Obviously these are cartoons, so like it's not the same, but I feel like it's gonna give me like more information in a digestible way that is not going to be too heavy, where I'm going to be like scared to like jump into more history, you know, because I mean life's hard enough as it is, and it's hard to like look back on our history just as a country. But yeah, those are all the books that I grabbed. I grabbed some really good ones. I still can't believe that I ended up getting this many books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books. So this is a fun one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, got lots of tips, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.